I'll give it just a quick 10 seconds, let everybody kind of get in the room and get situated. And I'll go ahead and welcome everyone. Looks like we got most of the folks in here. Well, awesome. So really excited you all are here. My name is Steve Olson. I'm one of the program managers with the CWCT program. I work out of UNC Charlotte, but I'm very excited and happy to work on a great team. Many of them here today and many you'll hear from. We have great faculty, we have good staff, we have great lab managers, teaching assistants. All in all, this consortium, and what I mean by consortium is a group of different universities, UNC Charlotte, Ivy Tech, Purdue Northwest, and University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, all work together on this grant. And I think it's a really exciting thing because not only do you get to take virtual remote coursework in cybersecurity in your chosen track, but you also get faculty from all of these different universities and that specialize in different areas, whether it's a specific language or if it's a software system or it's a artificial intelligence, forensics, Red Hat, Linux, Python. And many of you already registered for courses or are doing so now. And you may recognize a lot of those names, but whether you're coming from a IT background already, or you're coming straight out of the military, like many of our students are, coming out of a first responder, or this is your first thing doing anything to do with cybersecurity or IT in general, welcome. This is a really great place to start. Though this is a newer program, we're really excited in the progress that we've made so far with the students that are currently attending and those that are finishing. Again, we've got really great feedback from our faculty and from our students. I think we're really well positioned in this program, and we're poised kind of because we're a grant funded program. We are not struggling to get students necessarily because we have a program that is free for you all and we cover the cost of 3 exams, and that's really cool. But what that also says is that our measure of success for this program is making sure you all get a good experience, you're passing your certification exams, and you're kind of navigating into a good role within the field. So that's our measure of success, and that's what we're going to try to attain. Today in your orientation, you're going to hear from a lot of folks about how to actually navigate the software to gain access to your classes, a little bit of our schedule, some of the tips and tricks on accessing your Ivy Tech email, and a bunch of other stuff that I'll let Chrissy go through. But what I really want to talk about really quickly was, and this will only take 2 seconds, but I always like to open these up and kind of set the tone a little bit. So everyone here knows that cybersecurity is kind of a vast field. You hear that word and you think immediately attacks. You think about the huge things that hit the news in the last few years, whether it was a pipeline like Colonial, or whether it was a meat packing plant, or it was something that hit your local news about a ransomware attack or a supply chain issue. But it's kind of all over the place. But if you look at the New York Times, if you look at what the FBI comes out with, if you look at any article, one of the biggest threats to cybersecurity this year is a talent gap. It's a talent gap. And you can ask any professional in the field right now. You can ask an instructor, you can ask a penetration tester, you could ask someone that's in financial crimes, ask them what's the biggest problem in cybersecurity. They don't have enough people that are trained to do it. Plain and simple. It's a talent gap, and that's one of the reasons why the National Centers of Academic Excellence has funded this program to kind of try to start to make some sort of a dent in that workforce development gap that exists in cybersecurity. So that's really cool. You all are part of that, which I think is a really exciting thing, whether it's something that's kind of a patriotic thing for you, or this is something that you know is going to be a route to a sector or to upskill in your current sector that's going to provide for your family better, or you're like me and you're a giant geek and you really like computers and you like to be surrounded with other people that are like that. No matter who you are, where you're coming from, I'm really glad you're here. We have a really great team that are here to answer your questions. And for those, we have about 75 to 80% of our students come from the military. I transitioned out of the Army. I did 2 years active and 6 reserve. And I've been trying to navigate what that kind of looks like in my own professional career. So if that resonates with any of you, I'm with you. So without further ado, Chrissy, if you don't mind throwing up the agenda, I'll quickly go through it and then I'll keep this thing rolling. Thanks, Chrissy. Chrissy is our all-star do everything. She's like the director of a few different things. I'm going to try and cut off here 10 minutes in. So we're going to spend about 15 minutes going over the program. Chrissy's going to kind of, go through all the courses and certifications. Some of them may already be something you've seen because that's the track you chose, but if not, no big deal. You'll learn about the other ones. Matthew and Edwina are going to go through our non-attendance data, resources, and then other support systems that we have in place. Next, we'll do faculty introductions, which I'm very excited for. Our faculty is growing and we have a really good set. Then we'll go over your Ivy Tech and my Ivy account, and you're going to hear a lot tonight. We stress this big time: checking your Ivylearn, checking your Ivy Tech email address. That's how most of the communication, if not all, is going to come from here moving forward. So kind of get that in your brain. How to access the Zooms, how to watch the lectures. And then we're going to go through a little bit more information on the tracks from our PIs and co-PIs from this grant program. That's going to kind of give you a better idea of what kind of jobs are more closely aligned with any specific track, if that's the case. And then we'll wrap up with a few more comments from another one of our faculty and PIs about cybersecurity jobs within the government, and then we'll wrap up. So thank you all so much again for coming tonight. Welcome to the CWCT program. And I'm going to hand it over to Chrissy because she is just the best. And she's going to really listen to what Chrissy says. We're going to have a recording of this entire orientation later, but she is the one that's going to give you the majority of what you baseline need to know to access your materials and all the to-dos. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Michael. You guys rock, and welcome.
All right, thanks, Steve. As Steve mentioned, my name is Chrissy Duncan. You all probably received many emails from me throughout your application process. I am the program manager for the CWCT program out of Ivy Tech. And because everything goes through Ivy Tech, that's why you hear so much from me. Each of you are assigned a program manager through one of the 4 institutions as a part of this consortium. They're assigned to me out of Ivy Tech. You're assigned to Steve O out of UNC Charlotte. You're assigned to Steve Ryder out of University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, or Rex Mudge out of Purdue Northwest. So you should have received that information when you first applied, as well as throughout the time.
1, 2.
So I am going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen again because what I have. So as Steve mentioned, this is a consortium of the 4 institutions. He already went over the agenda. So I'm going to just first of all talk about just the program in general. You guys have all been admitted, guys and girls have all been admitted. So what now? What exactly is this program? So I'm just going to go over the very basics of it to start with, and then later I'm going to talk about accessing your classes, things like that. So first of all, you were all admitted under one pathway within cybersecurity. You either admitted under the artificial intelligence pathway, the digital forensics pathway, or the system administration pathway. This PowerPoint will be sent out later this week. So as Steve mentioned, we are recording this orientation. So we are going to send that out to everybody. And then this PowerPoint will be attached as well, because I know some of this stuff may just be small for you to see on your computer screen. So you'll have access to it and the links that are within it as well. Amber should be sending that out. It's going to depend on how quickly they can get the recording cleaned up, but either Thursday or Friday, this information should be sent out to you. So to continue, so you were admitted under one of the 3 paths. Within that path, you will be taking 6 non-credit college level courses. So these are non-credit courses. They are college level, which is why you had to take an English and a math assessment in order to get into the program. For those who may already have some of the certifications, the A+, the Security Plus, Cyber Ops, CEH, whatever it may be, you may have to take less classes because you'll get a waiver for those that you already have certifications for. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll either hit them up during this part, or they may be talked about later in the session. The courses are offered through live virtual lectures. So everything in this program is going to be virtual. You will be meeting 6 hours per week on these live virtual lectures. The lectures are recorded for participants who cannot attend the live lectures. We have participants from all over the US, as well as even some who are stationed overseas that are doing this program. So we know that time zone issues can be an issue. You're working adults, you might be working shift work if you're law enforcement or first responders, you may be deployed, what have you. So lectures are recorded if you cannot attend the live virtual lectures. There are no in-person offerings for this program. Again, it is all virtual because it is a nationwide offered program. Your sessions will be 8 weeks long. So you'll have 8 weeks of instruction period and then a 2-week break before your next session starts again. So things do move pretty quickly within this program. Each course you take may lead to an industry recognized certification. So CompTIA A+, Certified Ethical Hacker, Security Plus, Cyber Ops. Typically of your 6 courses, 5 of them are preparing you, 5 or even 6 of them are preparing you to take a industry recognized certification. This program covers the testing fees for up to 3 certifications. So you do not have to take the certifications in order to move on in the program. So you'll be given all that information once you pass your classes, how to access those certifications, your vouchers. Most students will leave their 3 certifications they want covered for the 3 most expensive ones within their tracks, and then either choose not to take the other 2, or they may just cover the cost of the other 2 themselves. So the program pays for the testing fees for up to 3 certifications. You may or may not take more than that. So, and then you will earn a certificate of completion once you have completed all the required courses within your program of study. There is also possibly an opportunity to gain pathways to pursue degree programs at the participating institutions. So these, once you finish this program, it could lead to transferring into one of the 4 participating institutions as a 4-credit student to pursue either an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree if you so choose. Oh, and now it's not moving on. Give me 1 second. Okay. So again, you were admitted under 1 track. You must complete the 6 courses within the track to complete the program. So this is not one of those picking and choosing which courses you want to take, which ones you don't want to take. There are certain classes you have to take. You have to meet the prerequisites for those classes. That kind of thing. So it's no, oh, I only want to take Security Plus and that's it. That's not the way this program works. There are 6 courses that you're required to take in a certain order. Again, as I mentioned, you may be provided a waiver if you already have the certification associated with that class. So if you already have CompTIA A+, it is active and not expired, you're going to get a waiver for CWCT 100, which is our CompTIA A+ class. You won't have to take that particular class. One of the questions we always get asked, and even though I'm going to answer it right now, I can guarantee you somebody's going to ask it in the chat later. Students, participants always wonder, can I take additional classes outside of my chosen track? So I'm in the system administration track, but I want to take the CHFI class. Can I take it? It will depend. You might be able to take courses outside of your track if there is room in that class once those who are required to take that class are registered first. As of right now, the beginning 4 classes that participants have to take, we don't have extra room in them. We weren't able to provide a lot of extra classes this coming session. So it's really going to depend. You're in system administration and you want to take Python. It's going to depend if there's room in Python once all the AI students are registered. So can you take classes, additional classes outside of your track? Maybe. It's going to depend. That is on a session by session basis. We will reach out to participants who are eligible for extra classes with that information if we have room. So that's kind of the rule for that. And then if you do take an extra class, the coursework itself will be covered under the grant. But again, we only pay for 3 certifications. Participation. So even though you do not need to attend the live virtual lecture, you may have to watch the recording. Your participation in the class is still expected. In order to participate, you need to be demonstrating this each week by completing quizzes, labs, homework, what have you. You need to submit things each week. If you do not submit things each week for your assigned classes, you could be dropped from the course for non-participation. You might have the option of then retaking it the next session, but you need to make sure you're doing the work. This is not quite a move at your own pace. So don't be waiting until 6 weeks in to finally get into it. You need to be submitting assignments each week of this program again, or else you might be dropped for non-participation. And then you need to make sure you're either attending the live virtual lecture or watching the recordings at a later time. You need to be mindful of the time commitment for this program. One of the things that always gets brought up by current participants when they get asked, what do I need to know to participate? You need to be aware of the time commitment. You're in lectures for 6 hours a week for just one class. And then you need to remember you're also going to have the time for your labs and homework. That could be up to an additional 12 hours per week. So you could be looking at 18 hours per week for one class. So for those of you who are taking 2 classes, you might be looking at an additional 36 hours per week. Some is less, some is more. It really just depends. So if you are currently registered for 2 courses and you're reconsidering, maybe I just want to go down to 1, reach out to your assigned program manager or respond to the registration confirmation email you got from me, and we can always drop you just down to 1 course. You are not required to take 2 courses for this program. You could just take 1 at a time. It may take you a little longer to finish, but be mindful of the time commitment that this program takes. This is not a boot camp type program. These are, again, our college level courses with a large time commitment. This is our session training schedule. So you guys were all admitted for the upcoming January session. Again, they are 8-week sessions with 2 weeks in between. So if you're only taking 1 course at a time, it's going to take you 6 sessions. So session 3, 4, 5, you'd be finishing about March of 2023. If you're taking 2 courses at a time, you'll finish in 3 sessions. You'd be done about the end of July. Some participants start with 2 sessions, decide they want to go down to 1. Some start with 1 course, decide they want to go up to 2 courses. You have that flexibility. Also, because we are non-credit classes, we also have a lot of flexibility. You get halfway in and you say, I need to focus on 1 class. I need to drop my other class. That's fine. We can do that. And then you can just retake the class. You can attempt a class 3 times before your admission into this program is evaluated. So we have flexibility. So if you're struggling with the time commitment, things are coming up, please reach out to your assigned program manager to see what we can do to help you. So the question that always gets asked, is this program really free? Yes. So this is covered by a grant through the National Centers of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity. The grant is housed at the National Security Agency, but it is offered through the NCAE program. So what is covered by this grant? all of the assessments that you took to get into the program, your English, your math, and IT assessments, those were all free and covered by the program. The study paths, if you had to take any of the studying paths or do any of the training modules, that was covered by this program. If you utilized any of the tutoring to get through those assessments, that was covered by this program. Again, we cover up to 3 certifications, the test fees for up to 3 certifications. If there are any additional proctoring fees or fees charged by the testing sites themselves, we do not cover those. It's just the test fees. Again, if you take any certifications above the 3, you would be responsible for those. Covered in this program is the live virtual faculty instruction. So you are actually getting instructed by certified faculty through the 4 institutions. And again, the lectures are recorded. We also have support from cybersecurity support analysts. These cybersecurity support analysts are resources in this program. They can provide tutoring, they can provide technical support. They are the ones that will maintain any virtual machines that you need to use throughout this program. All of that is covered under this free with this grant. As well as any online books and materials. You're going to be using some additional programs. NetLab and NetAcad are the 2 that I know of. The access to those are covered, as well as any online books and materials. And I know I'm almost out of time. I am almost done. If you need, if a physical book is even available, that you would be responsible for paying for yourself. In your emails you got with your schedule, there should have been information on some self-preparation materials. That is on our training schedule website, and will I won't go into a lot of detail because again, information on this test prep self-preparation material should have been included in your admission email, as well as your registration confirmation email. We are going to have people going over the 3 training paths and kind of what is included in those. So I'm not going to go over those in detail. Each of these paths is going to be talked about. So I am going to stop sharing. Let me just make sure I got everything. Yep. So that is, again, the major program overview. And if you have any other questions, please just reach out to your program manager. That's what we're there for.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Chrissy. And next, we're going to hear about non-attendance dates, resources, and other supports from Matthew and Edwina.
Hi, thank you. My name is Matthew Cloud. I'm a professor of the practice of computer science at Holy Cross College, but also through this grant as a director for the cybersecurity grants, assistant director for this grant, to Michael too, who is the senior PI on this whole process that we're doing here. So my role within the grant is to help make sure that we have the proper faculty and student supports needed to do well in the coursework itself, helping to oversee our overall coursework. And I work in particular, as far as courses are concerned, with Farina Saqib, Dr. Saqib, on the AI and IoT track. That's more of my area of focus, but I have a team of people that are here to help support you and to do well. As part of that, what we ask of you is to keep up to date and make sure that you're doing your work and turning it in at least every 2 weeks. If we go into the course and we find that you're not submitting work every 2 weeks, we'll talk with the professor, we'll try to contact you. We want to make sure that there's not something going on that's preventing you from doing the work. If we don't hear anything back, we're likely to remove you from the course. That doesn't mean we're removing you from the program or kicking you out of the program. We just don't want to set you up for failure. We want you to do well. So if you're not able to keep up with the work at some point, it's okay. Come back to the next 10-week section, right? So we have every 10 weeks, we have a new session that comes up. Each course is 8 weeks long. There's a 2-week break in between. It's designed that way because things come up. That's normal life and it's okay. So keep that lab work, keep the other work that you've got, and you'll be ready to go for the next time and be able to get through it. We want to help you do very, very well. So some of the classes are pretty large. We have a lot of interest. We've got 500 enrollments with 366 unique people that are in these classes, with about 150 people starting new this term. Many of you here tonight, which is great. I'm glad to see that you're here. We're here to help support you. We're a large team. That's what the point of this meeting, or at least one of the points, not just to give you information, but to also let you know that you have a huge team available here for you from 4 institutions, and a 5th actually sort of now, but we have all of these people here to help you do well. So when you have a problem, reach out to your program manager. If you have a lab specific problem, you can go to CWCT support. I'm going to put that right here in the chat at ivytech.edu. That team is headed by Edwina. And Edwina, if you will say hello and introduce who you might have here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Edwina Aponte, and I am the Cyber Range Lab Manager. And I do have a support team that helps me with any troubleshooting you may have while going through your labs. So feel free to email at the link that Matt just put in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, I was looking there quickly in the chat. We have a Discord group that some other students have set up for cybersecurity training. Happy to share those kind of things. There are lots of things that are being developed that are not necessarily through this program, because we can't do everything. Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie from particularly veterans groups bring in, but it's not necessarily restricted to people who are veterans for those activities. Okay, so your program managers can help you get connected with that, and particularly Steve Steve Olson. He's got a really good connection in on those community groups, as he's starting to already pop in there. Great, thank you, Steve. So each of us kind of helps into a different area, but that's kind of the overview. I do want to emphasize again about the difference between a certificate and a certification. So sometimes people get confused as to what we're doing with this program. There are 3 certifications that we'll pay for. No, you're not required to do 3 certifications. We want you to do 3 certifications. You can do more than that, but we'll only pay for 3 of those certification exams. However, you complete 6 courses in this program, 6 courses, in one of the 3 tracks, then you will get a certificate of completion from this program that is supported by all of the institutions. So there is a certificate of completion. A certificate is multiple courses that leads to some sort of academic credential versus a certification, which is an industry designation. So any questions that y'all have for me on support? I mean, our NetLab group system that we have, go ahead and put it in there in the chat if you got any other questions. I'll be on here, and we're going to split off with the faculty after their introductions to have a faculty meeting, but we're always around and available. That's the beauty of a virtual program. And we have it's about a $1.5 million system that was paid for by Department of Labor funds to support a lot of the labs called NetLab. But we also have additional support through Red Hat, AWS, Oracle, and Cisco in particular to provide free access to these tools. So there's a lot of great organizations involved, and ultimately to help you get to a job. One of the things that we'll talk about towards the end are the cybersecurity jobs, but that is the ultimate goal, is building out apprenticeships. That's not a requirement of this grant, but that's what we're leading to, so that over the next year, that really becomes our major focus, is how do we help people get employed. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Matthew. So next we are going to introduce the faculty. So first we have Alma Scott, who is teaching A+. Alma?
Yes. I'm
How are
Alma
you?
Scott. I'm good. I'm with Ivy Tech Community College. And this is about, I think about 14 years with Ivy Tech, and also a number of years, a lot of years in the IT industry. So I'll be teaching the CWCT 100 class, IT Essentials A+ certification.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Alma. And next we have Valerie, who is also teaching, Valerie Goulet, who's also teaching A+. Valerie?
I am Valerie Goulet, and I am excited to welcome you all to this program. It's very exciting, and I expect that this term will be no different than the last. My students are always very active within the class, and we talk a lot and we do a lot of hands-on, but there is a lot of reading for you to do. So if you're in my group, you might receive a little email before classes start saying, could you read a little before you come? Just so you are up on what we're going to start off on, and we will hit the ground running. So again, welcome. And I look forward to having you in my A+ class.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Dima, who also teaches A+. She here
Hello,
this evening?
everyone. Hi, I'm sorry, I'm driving. I'm sorry if it's, the noise is loud in here. I'll be your A+ teacher. We'll be meeting every Saturday at 9 o'clock Central Time from 9 to 1, and on Sunday from 9 to 11. And I look forward to meeting all of you who are in my class, and good luck on the rest of your classes.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see, next we have Bill McGillergy, excuse me for mispronouncing that. Bill teaches Linux system administration. Bill?
Hey, excuse me. Good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I'm Bill McGillergy. I teach the Linux class for Monday and Wednesdays. I'm here at Ivy Tech. So been at Ivy Tech for about 6 years. Then also work full-time at Microsoft, and then also work on some cryptocurrency projects on the side. So I've been in IT for about 20 plus years and cybersecurity for about 10 years now. So I'll be looking forward to having those that are in the class. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Next, we have Bill Warden, who also teaches Linux system administration. Bill?
Not teaching for Microsoft, though.
No.
I'm another one of the Ivy Tech faculty. I've been with Ivy Tech coming up on 20 years this next August. And this will be my third session teaching with CWCT. And I am thrilled with the experience, with the students, with everything about it. So I do have this as kind of my side job, if you will, and I do it on the weekends as a result. But that, even though it can introduce some unique challenges, gives us the opportunity to really focus, I think, in my classes on that weekend time. And it also illustrates the sacrifice that you're kind of expected to make of your own time. You're going to be there on Saturday and Sunday with me in the afternoon, depending on where you are time-wise. And we will get through it. But as I mentioned in chat, this is a matter of commitment, concentration, and consistency. Just consistent effort will get you through this material, I assure you. And if it doesn't, I'm there to help.
Awesome. Motivation and discipline, the keys to success. Next, we're going to hear from Chris Roberts, who teaches Python Essentials. Chris?
Greetings. Sorry for not being on cam. My office has a mirror behind me, so the mirror kind of throws off any background with the camera. Yes, my background, I'm prior Navy. I've got 32 years of programming experience before I switched to teaching at Ivy Tech. I'm currently the program chair for the School of IT here in Ivy Tech, Fort Wayne, and I'm looking forward to teaching you guys Python programming.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And next we have Spiros, who teaches Cisco Cyber Ops. Spiros. Is Spiros here today?
Yeah, he just needs to unmute. Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Spiros.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Hi there. My name is Spiros Bamiadzis, and I am at Ivy Tech Academy Campus. I'm the assistant chair for cybersecurity, and also I am a professor for cybersecurity as well. And also I'll be teaching cyber ops. It will really take me a long time to explain to you or tell you basically how excited I am every time I talk about cybersecurity, because I'm doing research in the field of cybersecurity and also cyber warfare, and also in the nexus between cyber terrorism and extremism. That's where most of my work has been taking place between, the extremist groups and the cyber terrorism. And teaching cyber ops gives the opportunity to see the connection between the cybersecurity, how do we apply the principles of cybersecurity in the environment around us. The COVID crisis that we are still experiencing, it also gave an opportunity to all kinds of different hackers to actually get their nefarious purposes through this through this pandemic, and actually they upped the ante into doing some real bad work and some real bad hacking, I would say, in the network. What I'm trying to say with all this is that it is a very great opportunity to serve not only your profession or your own goals, but also to serve this great nation, because what we really need right now, as Steve said before, is really we need some first-rate cybersecurity analysts, which they will give all they have in order to try to get the pandemic this time, I not, the hacking industry, because it is an industry, unfortunately, to bring in some kind of control. So I will do my best to be all I can be actually for this class that we're going to have. It requires a lot of dedication from myself as well. And also it requires a lot of hard work from both of us, myself, first of all, and also from you as well. We will be having a lot of labs, and it will be exciting times. And we're going to see how the theory is applicable as we're doing these labs. So I'm looking forward to see all of you in the class. And of course, I'll be available to you either through email, preferably email, to address any of your concerns. So from my heart, I wish you a very happy new year, the very best wishes for a successful new year to yours and to your families and to yourselves, and to also have a great time in achieving your goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Spiros. Next, we're going to hear from Anthony Ford, who also teaches Cisco CyberOps. Anthony.
Alrighty. I'm Anthony Ford. I have been with Ivy Tech for 6 years as the cybersecurity instructor. And so I spend almost all my time teaching cybersecurity. I will be doing cyber ops Monday, Wednesday nights from 7 to 10 Eastern time. And I look forward to getting to know those of you who are going to be in my class.
All right, thank you. Next, we are going to hear from Jeffrey Edwards, who teaches CompTIA Security Plus. Is Jeffrey here today? All right, then we'll move along, and we're going to hear from, is it Jiff
Sorry,
Ransom?
Jeffrey, he's in a meeting. He won't be able to make it today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we're going to hear from Jiff Ransom. No? All right, then we're going to go ahead and move ahead.
And it's GIF, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think he was able to make it tonight.
Okay, so Giff Ransom is not here. And finally, John Lawrence, who teaches computer hacking and forensic investigator.
John, you're on mute.
So I think John might be having some difficulties. We have a couple of
There-
minutes.
There we are. I'm here.
Ah,
Sorry about that. I was talking and I thought I was unmuted there, and all of a sudden I got the pop-up. My name is John Lawrence. I am the CHFI professor. I've been teaching for Ivy Tech now going on 6 years and 1 year with Purdue. Like many other people that are here today, my main job is working for the Munster Police Department. I am the digital forensics analyst and intelligence analyst for the town of Munster and the Munster Police Department. So I bring a lot of the investigative skills and techniques and stuff like that that I use every day at work, and I bring it to the classroom. I do have images that we go over in class besides the material that we have for labs that we do in the testing environment that Ivy Tech has. And it's rigorous. We make sure that there's quizzes every week, let alone a lab every week. So I will keep you busy.
all right. Thank you very much, John. And then I think I missed Connie. So Connie, you teach A+, correct?
That is correct. You guys can see me there. My name is Constance Chasteen. I have been with Ivy Tech since 2017. I teach mainly the IT support classes and informatics classes. Currently pursuing my PhD in information technology with a digital forensics focus. This will be my third cohort of teaching the CWCT 100, and I look forward to meeting all of you that are in my class. Just to add one more thing on there, we will not lecture the whole time. I do expect that you can read by now at this stage in your life. So we will be doing a lot of our labs in class as well. So you can get the hands-on knowledge and be able to complete those in a timely manner. Welcome, everyone.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Connie. Did I miss any of the instructors? Maybe somebody who came in late after the introductions?
Did Joe Bowden make it on yet? Did you see him come through?
I didn't see him on.
Okay, yeah, he's
come
the
in.
only one that you
Okay.
forgot, but he may not be on yet because he emailed me asking for the link. So
All right. Well, looks like we're a little bit ahead of schedule, which is always good. So right now, what we're going to do is we are going to move along, and we are going to move it to Chrissy, who is going to talk a little bit about Ivylearn, My Ivy, and your My Ivy account, and accessing Zoom. So Chrissy, if you'd like to go ahead and take it.
thank Paul, do you want to introduce yourself before we?
Sure, I'm brand new to Ivy Tech. I'm excited to be teaching OpenStack administration this coming couple of weeks. Excited to do the whole online learning with all the rest of you. So hopefully we can all work together. I've been teaching in the Wisconsin Technical College system for over 20 years in system administration and virtualization. So this is pretty exciting to be involved in this program.
Very good. Thank you, Paul.
So this is probably one of the most watched portions of our orientations because this is how do you actually access your classes? It's what we get lots of emails about. Classes are starting next week. Now what? So I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna stop my video because you don't need to see me since I'm sharing my screen. And then let me share my screen here really quick. Okay, so again, this is going to be recorded and being sent to you. So I'm going to discuss two big pieces of technology you'll be using as a participant in this program. Hold on, something came up on my thing. Okay, you've actually already used both of these pieces when you went through your application process to do your assessments, but I'm going to discuss more closely how they relate to your participation in your courses. And while this program is made up of a consortium of the four universities, like we've been talking about, the Ivy Tech system is what you are going to use to actually complete the program. It's why you did your assessments through your My Ivy for your English and math assessment and your computer assessment, your IT assessment through your Ivylearn. So everything's done through the Ivy Tech system, even though it is a consortium of the four institutions. So tonight we're going to be looking at My Ivy, which is your student portal, and we're going to be looking at Ivylearn, which is how it's our online learning management system. That's how you actually access your courses for the virtual lectures, your coursework, your syllabus, etc. So we're looking at My Ivy and we're looking at Ivylearn. There will be an email that gets sent to you from your program managers that will also have some of this information in it as well. And again, you'll have this part to watch again once the recorded orientation is sent to you. So if you miss something, that's okay. You can always go back and watch this. So there are several different ways to get to both the My Ivy and Ivylearn. The first is going to be through the Ivy Tech website, which is just ivytech.edu. Which is where I am at. Okay, yeah, you guys should be able to see my screen. You will see here in the upper right-hand corner, there is a link for My Ivy, which again is your student portal. And there's a link for Ivylearn, which is the learning management system. So you can get to it here. You can also get to it by going to My Ivy directly, which is just myivy.ivytech.edu. I would just bookmark My Ivy because that is also how you can get to Ivylearn. So I would just recommend bookmarking this, your My Ivy account so that you can easily get back to it. So to log in, you're going to log in using your Ivy Tech email address and the password that you developed when you created your account. Ivy Tech does not keep records of your passwords. So if you've forgotten your password, you need to just click on the reset or forgot password link. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Mine is automatically, so you'll put in your Ivy Tech. Make sure you're using your Ivy Tech email when you log in. So your portal, your My Ivy portal will look slightly different than mine because you have a student view where I have a staff view, but a lot of the information is going to be the same. The concepts are going to be the same. So there are two pieces that you want to become familiar with Ivy within My Ivy for this program. There are a lot of links in your My Ivy that are just not going to be applicable to this program because it is a non-credit program. Essentially anything here under My Info is not going to pertain to you guys. Also, there is a student schedule. If you go under the support, there's a student schedule that you can look at. Your classes will not be on that student schedule because they're non-credit classes. That's why you got an email to confirm your registration. If you never got that email from me to confirm your registration, check in your spam folders because sometimes our emails go to the spam folders and that would have been sent to your Ivy Tech emails. So if you click on my schedule, which is usually here under my info, it's not here, but again, your schedule won't show. So 2 pieces that you really need to know here within my Ivy is accessing Ivylearn, as well as your student email, okay? Because of student privacy laws, you need to be using your Ivy Tech email for this program. And really, honestly, that's where your instructors expect you to email from as well. If they see a personal email, they may not email you back because they don't know who that's coming from. So make sure you're using your Ivy Tech emails. Okay. Both the student email and Ivylearn should be listed in your quick links section here in the middle. You can see here is Ivylearn on mine. You should also have student email in yours. Again, mine's going to look slightly different because I'm a staff member and we use Office 365 for our email as opposed to Gmail, which is what is the student emails use. Okay. If you do not see Ivylearn and the student email, and it's just called student email. Let me show you guys here how it looks. It's just called student email. If you do not see those in your quick links, you can go here to see all and search for it, and it'll come up, student email. And then if you click the little heart, it allows you to save it in your favorites so that it will then come up here in my favorites, but it should be in your guys' quick links as a student, okay? So like I mentioned, due to student privacy laws, your Ivy Tech email should be the email you're using to communicate for this program. This is how you should send emails to us, and this is how we will send emails to you at this point. So please make sure you're checking your Ivy Tech email regularly. The Ivy Tech's email is run through Gmail. So what sometimes can happen is if you have a personal Gmail account, so your personal email is a Gmail account, and if you have your password saved on your computer for that, when you click on student email, it will take you to your personal email sometimes, as opposed to your Ivy Tech email. So if this happens, you're either going to need to log out of your personal Gmail account and then log into your Ivy Tech email. Or what I personally recommend is that you add an account in Gmail. That will allow you easily to access both your personal and student emails. You can easily Google how to add an account in Gmail if you don't know how to do that. So just Google add account in Gmail, and there should be step-by-step instructions on how to do that. When you add the account, the email address is going to be the Ivy Tech email address and your password that you set up. So that will allow you to easily go back and forth between the 2 accounts in your web browser or even in the Gmail app. So make sure you're checking your Ivy Tech email, please. Now, the big piece I know you've all been waiting for. How exactly do you complete your virtual classes? How do I even get started in this? Again, these are going to be through Ivylearn. So if you're already in your My Ivy, or if you're on that main Ivy Tech website, you're simply going to click on Ivylearn. That will take you to the Ivylearn page, okay? Again, you can bookmark this so that you could go directly to Ivylearn if you want. So you'll notice when you go in, and it may ask you to sign in, it's going to be your Ivy Tech information. It didn't ask me to do it because I was already on it earlier today. So the first thing I want to point out is on this left-hand side of Ivylearn, you are going to see an inbox here in the menu, okay? This is not the same thing as your student email. Again, this is not your student email. So sometimes what happens is I say, hey, I sent you an email, and students will go into here and say, hey, I never got it. Well, that's because this is not your student email. This is just another way for you to communicate with your instructors and your classes, but you can only communicate with your instructors and your classes through this. Like if you needed to send me an email as a program manager, you can't do it through here. You'd have to do it through your Ivy Tech email. So let me show you an example of what this looks like. If I go here into the inbox, you essentially can find your course. I'm just going to choose something here. And it'll show you all of the conversations that are associated with that course. I don't know if I can here, like Excel. So like I could, here's an email I sent to my Excel instructor one time. So like if you create a message, you can select the course. And then it'll allow you to send that message to the instructor. So it'll look like it's coming from your Ivy Tech to that instructor. You can set up in your account for these messages to go to your Ivy Tech email. So again, this is not the same thing as your Ivy Tech email, but it is another way to communicate with your instructors and classmates of your classes, okay? But again, like if you wanted to send me an email or your program manager, you're not going to be able to do it through here because we're not associated with your classes. You would just have to do that through your normal Ivy Tech email. Okay. So I don't want you to get confused thinking this is your Ivy Tech email. Okay. So let me go back to my dashboard is where it always opens. Now your courses will either be here on your dashboard. Okay, they will show up here, or they will be listed here under the courses menu item. It is important to note the courses will not show up on Ivylearn until 48 hours before the first class meeting. So if you go on there right now, your classes are not going to be on there. So we do not, Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So the Monday, Wednesday classes do not, the Monday, Wednesday class does not meet on Monday next week. Your first day will be Wednesday because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We are closed on Monday. So the session technically starts on Tuesday. So if you're in a Monday, Wednesday class, the class should show up. It may show up on Saturday. Or it may not show up till Monday since your first day is Wednesday. I'm not sure how that's going to be with the holiday. If you're in a Tuesday, Thursday class, the class should show up there on Sunday. If you're in a Saturday, Sunday class, it's not going to show up till next Thursday. So 48 hours before the class begins, it should show up here on your dashboard or in this courses menu, okay? Even if it shows up, the instructor may not publish the course until the day it starts. If you're not seeing it here on the dashboard or in this list, I have a pretty big list because I have other stuff. You can always click on all courses and it may show up there. That'll show you all your current enrollment as well as past enrollments. You can kind of see here, it'll tell you whether the class is published or not. So if it says no, that just means the instructor hasn't published it yet, which means that they're probably not ready to publish it yet. So it may not be published until the first day of class, okay? But when it's up, when it's published, all you're simply going to do, let me go back to my dashboard, to access your class is click on the class. Now I am going to go, I'm actually going to go into one of my past classes to show you how it looks. Let me, okay. So I'm using one of my past courses as an example to show you what the course will actually look like once you go in. Okay, this is a 4-credit class I took a Linux class through Ivy Tech. The main reason I'm showing you through this class is because it was a virtual class where we had to access the class via Zoom. So that's one thing that you guys need to know is how do you watch the lectures, okay? So this is what it looks like when you actually go in. You're going to see the course menu here on the left, okay? There's not really much you can mess up in here. So go in and explore once it becomes active, okay? You will see announcements here under the announcements tab. That is where your instructor will post announcements. You'll want to carefully read the syllabus, which is under the syllabus option. You're going to want to read your syllabus very carefully when it gets posted. The modules tab is where you will go to look at your coursework. Now, some of the classes do utilize other programs such as things called NetLab and NetAcad. You will be given instructions on how to access those things here within the Ivylearn, either in the syllabus or possibly through an announcement. So your modules may direct you to some of those outside resources, the NetAcad and NetLab, depending on the class. There may be other ones that I just can't recall off the top of my head. So, and then there is a grades link. However, your grades may not be posted in here. They may be posted in those outside resources, the NetAcad or NetLab. Again, it's all going to depend. But this is how you access the stuff for your class. So the big piece you need to know for your virtual classes is how to not only access the live lecture via Zoom, but how do you watch the recorded Zoom lectures in case you can't make it to the designated day and time of your course. So to access your lectures, either live or recorded, all you are simply going to do is click on the Zoom link here on the left, okay? All you have to do is click on Zoom. Uh-oh. Hopefully, I don't know what that message was, but, and here you will see several tabs. You're going to see upcoming meetings, previous meetings. There's a personal meeting room. That one actually looks new. And then there's cloud recordings. Okay. This is a class I took way back in fall of 2020. So there are obviously no upcoming meetings because it's a class in the past, but here is where for you guys, all of your future courses, class sessions will be listed here for you to access. And you'll just simply click on there will be like a link that you guys will click on that to access that day's lecture. Okay. You can go back and look at previous meetings. Your previous meetings will be listed because this class was so long ago. That's why they're not being listed. But if you missed a lecture, you can go back and say, okay, I missed Tuesday, the whatever, I need to watch that lecture. You'll simply click on it. And there'll be a link for the recording, or you can even go under cloud recordings and click on those. And that's where you can then access the recording. Okay. So if you're attending the live lecture, that will be listed under the upcoming meetings. If you need to watch a recording, you would want to go to the cloud recordings. Okay. And you'll just, again, simply click on it and it should then take you to the Zoom that you need, okay? If on your first day, there don't appear to be any upcoming meetings listed, please check your announcements tab, as the instructor may have just put a link in the announcements. Check your syllabus, they may have put it in there, or check your Ivy Tech email. They may have emailed you that information until they can actually get it up on this Zoom link. So if they're not listed in the upcoming meetings, check those other 2 or 3 places to see if they maybe temporarily emailed that information to you until they get it up on the actual Zoom page, okay? Just a note, most of these classes, actually all of these classes, happen outside of normal business hours, okay? So if you are having trouble getting onto your class on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central, you can email your program manager to let them know you're having an issue, but we're probably not going to respond until the next day because we're not in the office, okay? So program managers and support staff will more than likely not be able to assist you until the next day if you are having problems accessing the courses. So your best bet if you're having problem accessing the course is to email your instructor. Let's say, hey, I can't find my Zoom link. Zoom's not working. Contact your instructor. They may be busy getting the class going, so they may not see it. But just remember, if you happen to miss it because you just can't get on that first day, you can go back and watch it later. Okay, so don't freak out if you miss your first day because you're just having technical difficulties, things like that. Just get onto the cloud recording later and watch the class. Okay. Last thing, Ivylearn is through a company called Canvas. So that's probably on here somewhere. Canvas does have, anyway, it's through Canvas is the company that runs Ivylearn. It's just called Ivylearn through our system. There is a Canvas app that you can download on your phone. Okay. You won't really be able to do your homework and stuff through the app. But it is really handy for looking at a calendar to see when assignments are due. That inbox is in there if you need to message your instructor really quick. Things like that. So the Canvas app can be handy for just doing easy, simple tasks like that. So I do recommend you download the Canvas app, and that's Canvas, C-A-N-V-A-S. You would use your Ivytech information to verify and sign up for that. So that is kind of Canvas, Ivylearn, and my Ivy in a nutshell. And again, just remember, you make sure you're checking your Ivytech emails. Let me stop sharing my screen.
So next we are going to talk, we're going to have a short introduction from the PIs about the different tracks. However, Dr. Tu is not here this evening. He is teaching. So speaking for him on the forensics track is going to be John Lawrence. John?
Hello, I just had to unmute there. How's everything going?
Good.
Hello.
Great.
So yeah, so as part of the forensics track, what we have is starting with A+ and Linux. That works its way to the CHFI. So there are a couple prerequisites for it, for those who are interested in going through it. And again, as it was mentioned, for those people that wanted to take different classes, if there was room that they could be added. And I'm sorry, but I don't know if the class is full. I know I had about 15 students last time all over the world. I had a student in Germany. I had several on the West Coast, several East Coast, all over the place.
Yeah, can I, CHFI is not full, but students are not able to take CHFI until much later in their sessions, because you guys have to have Linux and CyberOps first. So
yes, there's at least 3 prereqs that you need to have for it. And I don't know how you guys are taking them in, if they have previous knowledge or experience, if
Nope.
someone had. Yeah.
Only if they've taken our classes or have the associated certifications already.
Yes. Yeah.
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 If you're ever eligible to take an extra class, participants, you will be emailed, hey, there's room in CHFI, you meet all the prerequisites, are you interested in taking it? Mm-hmm. So you guys will be emailed if there is room and if you meet the prerequisites.
Yeah, and I know it's further down, like most of the people that were taking my class this past semester, it was their last class or second to last class. So it's just further down the track. That's all. It's not one of the 100 level classes. And then I know also in the track, it's Security Plus and Cisco CyberOps too, but that's not necessarily a prereq for it. I know you can use it as a prereq along with the A Plus and Linux. But I don't think Security Plus is a prereq for it, from my understanding.
Yeah, CHFI is only Linux and CyberOps, and they're prereqs, which means you have to have them done already. Yeah.
Not the certs though, but just the classes.
Correct.
Yeah. So CHFI, for those I guess that are interested in taking it, it does take portions or similarities from A Plus and Linux and CEH and combine them all. So you are doing some hardware aspects of the course. You are doing some operating, Windows and Linux operating systems for the course, as well as CEH, cyber skill enhancement as part of the course. But yeah, that's the certificate program. Is there any questions from anyone out there? Or is anybody in the certificate program that is making their schedule right now so that they get the classes in order that they need?
Yeah, everybody should already be set with their schedules.
Yeah. Good. That's great.
All right, thank you very much, John. Next, we're going to have Rami talk about the SA, a systems admin track. So Rami, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Can you make me a co-host so I can share my screen a little bit, please?
There should be a green button at the bottom of the screen that says share screen.
Okay. Thank you. So hello, everybody. My name is Professor Rami, and I am the PI for Ivy Tech. I'm also the program chair for cybersecurity and information insurance at Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm going to be talking today about one of the most exciting cybersecurity major, that is system administration. This is really a critical component, but I'm going to go directly into it and just give you some information about the cybersecurity here. This track, as you can see from the CWCT website, we offer 6 courses that cover the foundation of computer system. When we talk about computer system, we're not talking really just about operating system. We're talking about all kind of system when it comes into the networks. Also going to talk about, also include foundation of computer networks and specifically the cybersecurity in combination with computer network, as well as we're going to cover some advanced topic in cyber infrastructure development comes into coding and some really interesting aspect there. Also going to be talking about cybersecurity protection there. Now these courses or this track specifically system administration, we have 3 tracks, of course, artificial intelligence, digital forensic, and what I'll be talking about today is the system administration, mostly focus on creating your skills and ability in order to administer and manage critical infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, I'm going to show you what is really the FBI InfoGuard defined infrastructure. You work in any of this critical infrastructure. This is actually by the FBI InfoGuard. By the way, this is a great organization for you to join if you qualify based on this critical infrastructure, if you work in any of these industry. So these actually the critical infrastructure, chemical sectors, communication sectors, dam, defense, and manufacturing, commercial, so on and so forth. I'm not going to adjust all of them. This is just some that really what defined as a critical infrastructure. So go back again to our actual definition here. So really focusing in this critical infrastructure and analyzing and evaluating. cybersecurity vulnerability and threats. There's a great website. Of course, today I have a great guest who's going to be talking about cybersecurity jobs. We're going to be actually inviting somebody from the United States Navy, a very famous and directors in the National Security Agency, had a Cyber Command Center, also going to be talking about all these jobs. But this is the link to the website, cyberseek.org. When we look up a position like cybersecurity analyst, right? You click on this position, then you start looking at what are the different skills that you're looking for to learn in this skills. And you can see right now, one of the required skill is what Linux. You really need to know open source. Linux has tons of distribution. This is a great website. If you go online, look at the different distribution. There's a 3-family distribution, Slackware. We also have Debian, we have Fedora, and you can see how many hundreds and hundreds of distribution there. Let's go back in here. So really, when you look in the cybersecurity program, I know we have A+, Security Plus, and CyberOps are prerequisite, but then you go to specialize in Linux system administration. That's when you get the Red Hat certification, Linux Plus certification, training. You really need to learn Linux when it comes into system administration cybersecurity. That's critical because almost every single operation on planet Earth actually requires what? Linux knowledge. If you go into this website, I have created for you this link. See, show you this fire eyes. You can see right now, this is not a computer game. This is a live attack. Shows how the planet Earth right now, all the different attacks comes in from different part of the world. So when you learn about Linux, most of these systems that actually right now launched or attacked from or attacked to is actually what is the Linux based. Go back again to our definition here. So the Linux administration is really critical. I know I don't have a lot of time to go into it. Like when I do my lectures, been teaching for 20-some-8 years here, and I'm as just a beginner when it comes to Linux administration. I started my job as a Linux system admin and Unix system admin back then in the 90s. But Linux administration is critical. You really need to know how to use command line interface. So you want to do something that you're not pointing, clicking on the screen, graphical user interface, but mostly learning how to interact with the operating system using command line interface. So really expect you to learn as much as you can. Some of you may find this is challenging. Some of you may see I'm not really into command line interface. You have to be patient. This is what you sign up for. System administration, cybersecurity. You really need to have patience to learn the commands, and what you see is not what you get. It's not like GUI, but you have to really think behind the scene. That's the Linux operating system. The next track we have in system administration is ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is funny because you've seen the movie Hackers, War Games. Anybody remember those movies? Enemy of State. Anybody see this Hollywood movies? Well, guess what? Early times we actually we used to hack for fun, but nowadays actually become a job. So you can actually get a job as a pen testing person, specifically specialized in ethical hacking, meaning you sign an agreement that you can actually pen testing the Pentagon website to make sure there is no security vulnerabilities. That's what really this track will teach you the foundation into this concept. So ethical hacking really is something new. I have one of my students, his name is Daniel. He just got a job in defense contracting company in Ohio. He's barely 20, I think. Maybe somebody can hear Edwina or somebody else can correct me about his age. And Daniel just landed a defense contracting jobs with the, as I say, defense contracting company in Ohio, and he's barely 21 or 20 years old. I think now he's 21. And that's what he do right now. He's actually finding vulnerabilities, and he goes to other also system, and he do also bug bounties, and he finds some interesting stuff. I cannot mention his last name because he has clearance and some other stuff in there. So ethical hacking is something you're really going to be looking into it, guys. It's a fun job, but you have to also make sure you don't cross that third red line. Every time I teach at Ivy Tech ethical hacking classes, I make sure the students sign an agreement that what you learn in this class, you cannot apply to your church, your workplace, your college. You can't do this to your friends, your family. The knowledge you learn is ethical hacking. So this is really an interesting part. The last component is the future, which is cloud system administration. If you have taken any database class, if I log in right now, I'm going to go right now, log into my bank online. I have maybe, let's say I'm using Chase Bank. So every time you go check your email, log into an online banking, or even just go to social network, like let's say Instagram or Facebook and all the stuff, you're really using some type of cloud system. And so this track will show you the foundation knowledge, how you can actually learn the basic concept of database, but on the cloud. Really, cloud computing is really taking the database, excuse me, from a standalone server into the cloud. So that's what really cloud system administration. It's the future. If you know right now, everything we do is really done on the cloud. Anybody use Facebook? you're constantly on the cloud. If you check your emails, you're on the cloud, and so on and so forth. There's so many examples there. So these are the 3 tracks when it comes to system administration. I really talked real briefly here. I have a lot of information to show you. I'd also want to be talking today about some cybersecurity competition, and when we introduced our guest for tonight from United States Navy, and we'll talk about the different jobs in cybersecurity. But I really have a lot of resources for you. Ivy Tech really is also have a cyber academy where we do with the National Guard down in Scott. I think I have one of the links here open that you can actually specialize in cybersecurity. And we have actually, let me see if I can find the link. I bought it somewhere here. Some of those links, I bought it there. This is it. This is Ivy Tech Cyber Academy. We actually do this in the Muscatac center down, I think, in close to Columbus, Indiana, and that's where we actually train and have a cybersecurity academy. And also we have our full-time Professor Joe Warden is actually teaching the program over there. I don't know if Joe is here today or not, but that's what we do actually there. So we actually
I'm here, Rami.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. Okay, so Joe is actually going to be your leading instructor when it comes to cybersecurity. Teaching is going to be also teaching cyber ops and security plus classes here at Ivy Tech, and he's leading this initiative at the Muscatac center down there. So going back again, so system administration really the core component of cybersecurity, where you learn open source, Linux administration, ethical hacking, pen testing, and also you learn the future of database, moving everything to the cloud. If you use Amazon Web Services, you're in trouble. I just got a phone call from somebody said, hey, your Amazon account being compromised, and it was an attack, cyber attack, of course, somebody trying to trick me through VoIP communication, voice over internet protocols communication, trying to call you via what I called an internet telephony phone, and trying to trick me to provide my username password, of course. And I actually terminated the phone calls, and he did not really get to communicate with me because he noticed that I may be not that easy to trick to provide my username password. So good luck to everybody when it comes into Linux, to system administration track and cybersecurity. These 3 tracks are a core component of the future. As I said, if you go to the critical sectors in our economy and every economy in planet Earth, you can see cover every sectors in planet Earth, critical infrastructure. These are actually the jobs you're going to be getting. So you're not going to be specifically working for the US government, but you can be working also from critical infrastructure, from a private sector or public sectors, both component in here. Does anybody have any question about system administration when it comes in cybersecurity here? I have a lot of information here. I'm not going to stop talking. So any questions? All right, well, good luck to everybody. I think we're on track, right? I'm sorry. Yep, I think we're on track. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So next we're going to hear from Dr. Farina Saqib, who is the PI for the AI track, and she is coming to us from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, UNC. So take it away, Dr. Saqib.
All right, thank you, Michael, and thank you everyone for joining the orientation. It has been a very informative session, and a lot of stuff you have already, received in terms of how to register, what is the course, what are the tracks. So I'm going to specifically talk about the artificial intelligence track. And to do so, I am going to take the opportunity to share maybe the same slide, I believe. Okay, so let me get started for the orientation slide, which Gracie has shown, and you will be receiving that with the recorded session. So this last track, which is on artificial intelligence, it's on the similar format. We have 3 core required courses that you would need to take before you can take the specialized courses. So the core courses are same across all the 3 tracks, that is A+, CompTIA Security Plus, and CyberOps. And once you have taken these core courses, then the specialized 3 courses for the artificial intelligence track include Python Essentials, AI or machine learning in cybersecurity, and IoT and hardware security track. On your right-hand side, you see the sample session in which you can break down, and as we have exchanged a couple of discussions in the chat, where you might pick up one course per session, or if you feel comfortable that you can manage, you can take 2 courses per session as well. So this is one sample. It does not require you to take 2 courses, just to make sure that everyone understands that. So this is an example where the students can take 1 core class and 1 specialized class per session, or may also take 2 core courses in 1 semester and 2 specialized courses, as for example AI and IoT and hardware security. So this term we are offering from the artificial intelligence specialized track, the courses on AI, ML in cybersecurity that you can take as well, or consider taking. So one of the questions in the chat were asked that if you already have earned the certifications, we do honor those certifications as long as they are not expired, and some of the course can be waived off because of that. All right. So just to give you an overview of how you can get most of that information from the web page. So we have this artificial intelligence certification program. You can see the course requirement that is listing 6 courses, where the 3 core courses and 3 specialized courses. IoT and hardware security will be offered in our session 4, which will start from March 28th. So that will be the next session once you complete this given session from January. This is some of the sample session, like we showed it on the PowerPoint slide. So you can get the similar information on the web page using this link for the CWCT cybersecurity program. All right. A little bit about the coursework. You can the description of courses are also available on the web page. Under the same, there are several links. Please follow those links. It goes from each individual tracks to more detail on the courses that you have to take for this given track that you select. And in the course descriptions tab, you can look into what is the expected outcomes and the list of courses that you want to take, what to expect. And of course, when you are taking the courses in the first week, instructors will also talk more about what to expect from each class. All right, so this is again the 3 core courses which have been discussed by Rami, and he gave you great examples of explaining what is covered and why it's important. I am going to cover the 3 specialized topics which you can find here. The first one is Python Essentials, CWCT 140 Python Essentials. So this course talks more about how to write code in Python, what are the different constructs that you can use, how can you write cybersecurity related applications. And this is more of developing a skill set that you will be using in other courses as well. So for example, Python Essentials is very important that you have taken that course. For the other specialized courses, which is on machine learning for cybersecurity, as well as for the IoT and hardware security. So in the machine learning for cybersecurity, you will be introduced with this domain of which is relatively newer in machine learning, and how it can influence, impact, and support cybersecurity related applications. So this is an introductory course where the students will learn what is artificial intelligence, what are the different categories of machine learning, including classification, deep learning, and unsupervised machine learning. So you will be studying what is the taxonomy of machine learning, and then how you can design your own ML models for the cybersecurity applications. All right. In the last course, which is on the IoT and hardware security, you will learn not only software aspects of the IoT devices, but also the hardware aspects of that. So we will discuss how to design a hardware, what are the hardware-based attacks, which are not possible at the software level. So the basic understanding of how to design secure solutions at the hardware layer that can improve the security at the other levels of abstraction, like embedded layer or the software layer, will be focused in the class of CWCT 250, which is on IoT and hardware security. We look forward to you all joining the program and completing the coursework. We are all here to help you. And if you need us to answer you any questions, we'll be happy to help you out. All right. And thank you again for joining, and looking forward to you all your participation in the courses. Thank you, Michael.
Farina, there's a question in the chat. It says, does the IoT and hardware security really dive into embedded systems?
So the course of IoT and hardware security, it is more in the hardware. We, as I shared, that we'll cover some techniques of how to design hardware-based security solutions. So, for example, if we don't want to have the user doesn't want to enter a password, how can the hardware authenticate itself by creating fingerprinting type of techniques? How does it authenticate? So we will cover an introduction of what is an IoT, what are the communication level security vulnerabilities. We'll talk about embedded system, introduction to embedded system, what is the boot process, first stage bootloader. But then the main course will deep dive in the hardware related security issues, such as supply chain security, such as physical unclonable functions, trusted platform modules. So what are the hardware features that can be used to improve the security of IoT? If that makes sense. So embedded systems will be taught, but it's going to be a smaller portion than compared to the hardware security. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Not related to that. I'm answering some other ones that deal with general stuff. Yep.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Next, we're going to hear about cybersecurity jobs from Rami and his guest, Sean Filipowski. So Rami, if you'd like to introduce your guest.
Absolutely. So let me just share my screen here. So, okay. Okay, you should be able to see my screen right now. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'd love to actually introduce, I have the honor to introduce our guest for tonight, the Rear Admiral Sean Filipowski. He's going to be talking to you today about cybersecurity job with the U.S. government. We are actually honored to have him here for tonight. I'm so glad he was able to make the call here today. And Professor also, he's not also just an admiral, but also he is a professor, and he's going to be teaching for us, hopefully for the future. Sean, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Rami. I really appreciate it. So good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. I mean, normally I would say, how you doing? And you'd say, hey, we're doing great. You know, clearly that's a little hard here when we're on Zoom. Rami, you can stop sharing the screen. That's okay.
Sure.
I'm a retired naval officer, and I was a submariner, a cryptologist, an information warfare officer, and a cyber warfare officer over the time that I was in the military. My last few assignments were in the SecDef's office, in the National Security Agency with some and Navy, but career, both from an exploitation, offensive, and a defensive perspective, and also in the operation and networks. So that's kind of my big picture background, if you will. Now, what you're looking at here online, what you see is an old Navy graybeard, literally. Not necessarily, you know, the clean cut picture that you saw on my bio there that Rami showed you, but at the same time, same guy, same experience. I'm currently a professor at the State University of New York at Cobleskill, where I teach implications of cyber attacks and cyber heist, cyber in business. And they're both very enjoyable courses, and my students are learning quite a bit based on my personal experiences and background. So cyber jobs, I've got a few minutes here, and I know I'm kind of between you and the end of the class, right? So I'll keep it brief, I'll keep it short. First of all, usajobs.gov. You want to look for cyber jobs? Look at usajobs.gov. Also, you can look at cybercareers.gov as well. A lot of folks don't know to look there, but cybercareers.gov has got a good perspective on the opportunities that exist within government today. Now, where can you go to, what kind of jobs will be available? Where will they be? Well, they'll be nationwide, to be honest with you. You've got the DoD, the DHS, the DOJ, and many other departments who have cyber jobs available throughout the entire nation. In addition to that, all the services also have cyber jobs. When I say cyber, I don't necessarily mean just cybersecurity. I also mean information technology, those jobs that keep the networks afloat and operating along the way. There are opportunities that exist with the Coast Guard. Additionally, a lot of folks don't recognize the Coast Guard has their own cyber command. Cyber command itself is constantly looking for new people with experiences and varied backgrounds. The services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, all have their own cyber commands and or their information technology or information professional communicator type jobs that exist out there that they're looking to fill with civilians, never mind military personnel. DISA as well, and the COCOMs, the combatant commands. US PACOM, for example, or US NORTHCOM, another example, are all looking for people with cyber backgrounds to fulfill the cyber jobs that they currently have, cyber and IT jobs that they have. Major defense contractors. When you take a look at our defense contractors, they're the backbone of where we get a lot of our support from because they provide a lot of intellectual capital to the department, to the various departments that exist within our government that, quite honestly, then fuel their ability to complete their assignments because there isn't enough government people to be able to do that yet today, obviously. And let's not forget, the reason that all of those folks are involved in cyber is because of the 16 sectors of critical infrastructure, key resources that the nation is responsible for. Everything from finance, all the way through the industrial base and beyond require people with cybersecurity knowledge as well as information technology knowledge too. Let's see, what kind of jobs are out there? Well, there are analysts, specialists, engineers, and also agents. Some of our contemporaries like the FBI, for example, the CIA are looking for specific cyber agents who can investigate cyber crimes, whether they're international or national related. The analyst jobs are everything from IT to programming to intel to management and obviously into cybersecurity as well. Where can you learn about this? I'll say it again, usajobs.gov and cybercareers.gov are the two biggest avenues of approach I'd strongly recommend you to look at. When I'm looking for my students for jobs, what I tell them is if they're looking to continue a career throughout the course of their life within the government and have a good retirement ultimately, then they want to get vested in the US government. And they want to be able to fulfill the many jobs that are available in those realms in order to be able to fulfill their own personal requirements for job satisfaction and growth. And a lot of this, IT and cybersecurity business is about growth. It's not just personal growth, but it's your professional growth as well. And I'm going to tell you up front, nobody's going to plan your career better than yourself. Don't expect anybody out there to be planning your career unless you are working it on your own to ensure that you're remaining current and that ultimately you are beginning to continue to evolve with various along the way. You don't have a good, strong rigor for analysis and inquisitive mind, it's going to be hard to succeed in some of the high-end cyber jobs that exist out there today. But I think ultimately that, you know, many of you who are former military or first responders, or even folks who have worked in the business before, strive to keep yourself professionally updated and looking beyond where you are today, which is one of the most important things you can do. I stress with my students all the time that it's not about what they learn, but it's about what they will learn and how that brings benefit to whatever industry, job, company they are potentially working in. All right, that's a lot of words in a few minutes. What questions can I answer of you tonight?
So Sean, I get a question for you. Our student will go through this program and get the A+ certification, cyber ops, and also security plus certification. What really can enhance their options to get jobs with the US government, even with the private sectors? What do you think, what kind of activity they should get involved in order to actually maximize their chances to get a job, either with the US government or private sector?
In order to enhance their ability to get a job with the US government or private sector, experience counts. Education is one aspect of this, but experience and seasoning count specifically. If they can get some experience and some seasoning from a leadership management perspective, then that will be a great benefit to a potential government employer for bringing them on board. Education is only a part of it. I mean, I get asked all the time, what's better, a certificate or a degree? And what I tell people all the time is both. It's not about one or the other. It's about both. Certificates mean that you're remaining current. A degree means that you've got some professionalization from an education perspective in a particular area. But ultimately, it's a combination of both. So education, one thing, but experience and seasoning count quite a bit.
Thank you, Sean. Another questions. When I met you and met also Admiral Michael Raja, also with the National Security Agency Director once upon a time down in Indianapolis. We have
that. Yeah, he was my boss. I was the Director of Ops. I ran the agency actually, but don't tell him I said that, okay?
So I asked him that question, said, what's the problem with cybersecurity? And he was talking to a big crowd of people down in Indianapolis. We have an opening for an emphasis center there. We asked him the question, what's the problem with cybersecurity? And he said, you got to keep up with it because it's constantly change. And what you learn right now, time you finish up the course. So what do you make for that statement? Would you agree with that statement? It's constantly change. And why constantly change from your cryptology background?
Yeah, it is constantly changing. I mean, you know, Moore's law, right? Technology has a tendency to increase, if they say, at 18 months. I think technology is increasing at a rate far greater than that today. When you just take a look back at American history to the industrial age, look how long it took to do some basic things, but look how fast. When you take a look at the internet, when you take a look at where we are today with the Internet of Things, if you will, that's a short period of time compared to the Industrial Revolution that occurred starting in the 1800s all the way through the 1950s in the United States. Look at where we've gone since the mid-90s. And really, when you look at it, it's where we've gone since early 2000. And so if you're not updated, you're not relevant. To be relevant, you've got to maintain currency with what's going on in the world. And when I say what's going on in the world, I don't necessarily mean just the technology aspects, but you know, when you take a look at the attack, the defensive, the theft, or the exploitation side of the house, you got to say to yourself, what's going on in the world? I mean, right now, as an old guy looking at Russia and Ukraine, I'm saying, I'm waiting for the Russians to do something cyber on Ukraine. Why? Because they've already shut the lights out in Kiev, because they've already attacked their industrial base through tax software capabilities and the NotPetya capability. Why would they do that? Who else did that affect? You know, you've got to understand a little bit about history and bring that forward into that relevance realm. There are many cyber events that have occurred and will continue to occur because of world events themselves. Look at the Chinese, look at the North Koreans, look at the Iranians, look at the Russians, and see what they do day in and day out when it comes to cyber intrusions for espionage purposes, whether it's stealing intellectual property or, quite frankly, just understanding the way our government wants to go. Whether it's cyber theft, the North Koreans, right? The greatest bank heist ever, Bangladesh bank heist. Look that up if you haven't had a chance to do that, and see what the North Koreans were able to do to steal close to $1 billion initially in their fight. Look at how North Korea used the United States as a pawn in their ability to create an impact with regard to Sony Pictures Enterprises in 2014. It's amazing what they did. Or look at what Iran has done to the United States with our financial industry, or Saudi Aramco, and with regard to Rasgas in Qatar as well. You know, when you take a look at this beyond just the technical keeping up with the Joneses perspective, you've got to keep up with what's going on in the world. I tell my students all the time, you're going to be of more value to your employer if you can say to your employer, hey, you know, I saw in the news yesterday that a grain consortium was hit by an attack by a Russian malware group, but I've checked and we're actually cyber secure in that realm. You've got to be able to keep up with current events and the world situation and understand how that could impact your networks and cybersecurity.
Thank you very much, Admiral Sean, for your feedback and for your participation for tonight. Really honored to have you here tonight. One last question a student asked me here on one-on-one is, say, do I need to have a security clearance in order to get a job with the US government? And what really could maximize my chance of getting clearance to get to cybersecurity jobs?
So the answer is yes. In many cases, what we want to be able to enable within government is we want our communicators, those who operate the network, to be able to talk at a classified level with our defenders, to be able to talk at a classified levels with our attackers, to be able to talk with our intruders, if you will, those who conduct espionage at the same level. So the answer is yes. You're going to be looking to have a security clearance. What can you do to enhance your chances? Well, ultimately, when the security investigator comes to see you, just be honest with them. If you've smoked marijuana in the past, while many states consider it legal, the federal government still does not. Be honest about that. Be honest about your relationships. Be honest about any external contacts you have outside of the United States. Honesty is the way to get through a security clearance. As soon as you try to hide something, I guarantee you, somebody who knew you will be interviewed and they'll say, oh yeah, Bob smoked marijuana twice a day, all the time. He didn't do it experimentally. He did it because he liked it. In which case it may seem, you know, very petty at this point because of the legalization of marijuana in the United States. But again, it's still a crime for the federal government. So honesty counts. Be completely upfront with the security investigators, and that will enhance your opportunities to get a very positive security clearance. And to be honest, many defense contractors require it as well. And in some cases, they require polygraphs, both government and defense contractors. Polygraphs are the same thing. Just be honest with the questions you're being asked.
Thank you very much, Admiral Sean Flabowski, for coming tonight. We're really honored to have you here. And thank you for all the great information you provide our student here. A lot of our students are former military, so really appreciate your feedback here. I think I'm gonna pass the screen back again to Michael or Steve.
Oh, wait, Rami,
Right.
before you do that, this is John. one thing to keep in mind is social media accounts, even for the police department and government and everything like that. And I know that that's been a deterrent for other students that we've seen go through that had non-flattering posts, or maybe you might call it a rant, and different social media accounts. That's something to keep in mind. And I'm not saying, you know, don't have a political view or something like that. But something that might be looked at negatively, either by an employer of some sort. And just like you see in, you know, in the news now, people look at social media accounts, you know, or posts from 14 years ago that come back and burn people. You know, you have to think a little more thoughtfully, you know, about social media accounts when it comes to job, because the employer will look at them. At least for us, for the police department, that's exactly what we do. You know, they have to give us all the accounts. And just like Sean was saying, not being honest and hiding social media accounts will keep you from being hired.
Absolutely, John. And there's a website, actually, National Security Agency passed it to Ivy Tech once upon a time, lifejourney.org. I think they trained students how they could control their information on social networks specifically, so they will be able to pass a security clearance and make sure they're professionals and what kind of information is put online. But thank you very much, Admiral Sean. Really appreciate your help here coming up tonight. I think we're out of time right now.
We're out of time.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you all good luck in your pursuits and in your careers. And, you know, you're our reliefs. You're the people who have been carrying this fight forward. You're our relief. And we look forward to you taking the helm and driving the boat from this point forward. Good luck to you. Thank you very much for this time and opportunity.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, for coming this evening. If there's any questions, feel free to either email me, usually your first point of contact when it comes to the program, or any of the other members on the grant team. This video should be posted by Friday. If not, it will be posted on Tuesday. All right. Have a great evening, everybody.